Welcome to the Wayback Chronicles podcast, brought to you by Noel Kirsch, Steve McKilkey, and me, Keith Abbott. In the Wayback Chronicles, we discuss the greatest events that's happened from the 1970s to the present.
So we're excited to do this episode. This is the first time we've ever done the listener's choice topic. So if you're just listening to our podcast for the first time, we normally have other topics: history, sports, technology, current events, all that good stuff. And we decided we wanted to start getting our listeners more involved, and the best way to do that is get them to tell us what they want us to talk about. So we reached out to our Facebook page and asked for input on, hey, Keith's drawing listener's choice. What do you want him to talk about for 1990? And we had some great feedback, some really cool ideas. And the one we really liked the most came from Tanner. Mm-hmm. And Tanner suggested that we talk about retail stores that existed in 1990 that currently do not exist. So that are stores of the past, I guess you could say. So that is the premise for today's episode. Mm-hmm. Keith, it's all you, buddy.
This was a really cool topic. Thanks, Tanner, for posting this one. And yeah, he's a former Radio Shack employee, so he, he's right in there with some of the nostalgia. Radio Shack was definitely a staple that is no more. So, but it was anytime you need to go get a good old realistic something or other, that's where you went, right? So, good stuff. I love Radio Shack. I'm telling you, it was a good place.
They had so many circuits and wires, and you could build a satellite.
You probably could.
Really wanted to. There.
You probably could. Absolutely. So yeah, great idea. And so you think about this. We're recording around the 1990 year. So you've got to think about, if you close your eyes and you think about the things that you did. So there's no Amazon, there's no internet shopping. So you basically, if you're going to get it, you're going out to get it somewhere. There's not even somebody bringing it to your door, right? Unless you just happen to order something weird, right?
Magazine, catalog or whatever.
Yeah, pizza is pretty much it. Mm-hmm. So you really, if you're going to do something, you're going out to get this. And it was really funny. I was doom scrolling down X today, and there was a Gen Z something or other out there that said there was a picture of the first thing I'm going to talk about, which is Blockbuster, right? And this guy said, could you imagine you actually had to go and look in a store to find a movie to bring home? He's like, I could never do that. And I'm like, that was like a staple of a Friday night on a weekend. And I'm like, it's amazing to think an entire generation would probably be triggered by having to do something like this,
It's crazy.
So yeah, that's the first one I had to bring up, was the Blockbuster videos of the world. I mean, there was even a bowl game with Blockbuster around the 1990 era. Yes, I don't know if it was that year or not, but I mean, very, very prominent organization. And I don't think there's a single one of us probably listening to this out of nostalgia that doesn't miss that option of going to pick out a movie on a Friday night when you have nothing else to do. Let's go to Blockbuster and see what's there. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Yeah. I mean, Cheech and Chong.
Yeah.
Right, Noel?
Yes. Cheech and Chong.
And if you're a new listener, go back. You'll understand what we're doing.
I always remember going to Blockbuster as a family, and the agreement amongst my brother, my dad, and I was, don't let mom pick out the movie. Because we probably weren't going to laugh. It would probably be the most boring hour and a half of our lives. Some romancing the stone or something like that. And so that was always our MO. And so we always got clever about how this was a great family movie. We'll all enjoy this together, stuff like that. So as long as we can say that mom bought into it. So
that's all good. That was what worked. So good stuff. But yeah, no, it was a good thing. And everybody had a little stress of what they dropped the thing. Crap, did I rewind that video, or am I going to? So funny things that you'd never really even appreciate today with the way to stream things. Late
fees turning it in too late.
I'm pretty sure I still got a receipt of late fees out there somewhere for Blockbuster. No, that's funny though. But yeah, so there's actually one Blockbuster left in the world. It's in Bend, Oregon. And so it's a tourist attraction basically at this point, something to like kind of relive memories past. But Blockbuster Video. So here's a funny thing, and we're going to talk a little bit more about some of these, but you also think about, and we'll get to more music stores in a little bit, but Sound Warehouse. Did you all have a Sound Warehouse?
I do remember that.
So in order to be saved, Sound Warehouse here's irony, right? Sound Warehouse was saved because Blockbuster bought them out and created Blockbuster Music. So can you imagine? That's a double whammy of non-existence right there, right? So not only did they Sound Warehouse go away, Blockbuster Music's gone, and oh my
all you
god.
need is like service merchandise coming scooping up them and Radio Shack for like the quadrecta.
Yeah. Yes, no doubt. So that's a good one. Yeah.
It really, you think about from the perspective of Blockbuster's, company leadership to acquire Sound Warehouse was a brilliant move for them.
It was.
Oh, yeah.
But they also had no idea what was coming, over the next decade. But brilliant move, and I mean, we're all excited when we go buy CDs and stuff.
Man, that's again, like I think about 1990s, and it wasn't the big block chain stores, but it was like going to like Ralph Records and Tapes, and there was University Records and Tapes when we were in college. And I mean, and I remember going to like a Sound Warehouse, and I remember, was it 1990? I don't remember what the year it was that the Foreign Lawful Carnal Knowledge of Van Halen came out. Maybe it was 91, but anyway, I remember vividly that it was coming out it was 91. And I remember going out to the Sound Warehouse, and my friend Mark found it before I did. And I was so mad that he found it before me, but it's like, it was something about that thrill of that. It's here, you'd never, and I mean, there's an argument today that is like, why not just have it accessible? So I think it's awesome. Don't get me wrong. I think what we can do today, anytime somebody brings up a song, I can find it. That's awesome. But there was something about the thrill of the chase back then that was good stuff too. So
absolutely.
So a lot of other stores that were around just kind of cued my memory. And again, I'll say that these were brick and mortar stores that existed then and have gone out of existence. Not necessarily went out of existence in 1990, but were definitely, if you were walking around a mall, this is what you found. Borders. Do y'all remember Borders? So that was basically the Barnes and Nobles of its day, right? And so
competitors for sure.
Yeah. So Borders is basically non-existent today, and it's kind of weird to think that was a pretty big store. I remember even after we graduated living in Houston, there was a massive Borders store there. I was like, wow, this thing is like a mecca, it was huge.
The flaw for Borders is that they looked exactly like Barnes and Nobles, but Barnes and Noble was actually a little bit classier looking. So you would walk into Borders like, where am I? I assume I'm in a Barnes and Nobles. And so they basically killed themselves by
they kind of did
differentiating themselves.
Yeah, it didn't set themselves apart. So other people that didn't really set themselves apart good enough. I remember I bought one of my first TVs at Circuit City. Y'all remember Circuit City?
Oh, yes.
So that's another store that definitely, I remember buying my first, it was like a Sony, like flat screen plasma, whatever TV it was there. And I thought it was so cool. But like, I remember it also becoming a ghost town once Best Buy started becoming dominant, and it really surprises me, honestly, that Best Buy is still as strong as they are. Because you think about there was Silo. Remember Silo in the 1990s? Circuit City. There were so many of those stores that like just got run out by Best Buy. I mean, Radio Shack technically was one of those too. So that they just didn't quite make it because that they had this really good business model in Best Buy that kind of overdid everything. So a lot of fun there. So I actually enjoyed the floor of Circuit City better than Best Buy personally. It was fun.
Yeah. So the death of Circuit City was self-inflicted because they made the fatal mistake of getting rid of their commissioned salespeople.
Okay.
And so you remember you used to be able to walk in the Circuit City because they used to be huge in appliances. You would also buy computers and TVs and all that stuff, but appliances were financing appliances is really where they made their money. And then selling the extended warranties on top of it was really, the icing on the cake. But they decided to eliminate all their commission staff. So all their expert staff, the people you went back and bought from because they were always there because they weren't commissioning, but they built that relationship.
Yeah.
Got rid of all those people because they wanted to cut their payroll but they basically tossed away all the relationships that they ever built between themselves and their customers.
Brutal.
And so horrible idea. They never recovered, of course.
Yeah. I mean, because then you got guys come in and they don't have the first clue. They got to read the manual while they're talking to you to figure out what it is.
Let's look it up here real quick.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It'd be like Best Buy today, essentially. Yeah. Does this thing have this? I don't know. I'm going to go find my manager, and then they never come back. Same idea. But you have no competitor. Why not? So
Yeah.
So a lot of neat things from toy stores too. So obviously Toys R Us, we remember as the big standalone stores. You had what was his name? Jeffrey the
Jeffrey.
giraffe.
Jeffrey.
Yeah. And so very big toy store. Definitely Babies R Us too. They had that franchise spinoff for the baby store. So there's two places. Toys R Us tried to make a renaissance a couple of years ago, but COVID killed that again. And they're still trying, but they just haven't quite made it. I think there was even a Toys R Us float in the Macy's parade last couple of years, if I remember right, trying to make a big comeback, but they still haven't quite got there yet.
Yeah.
And not only Toys R Us, but if you remember, the malls always had KB toys.
Yeah.
Y'all remember KB toys in the mall?
Oh yeah.
I always thought that was a fun place to go to find little board games and stuff.
Yep.
Did y'all go in there and get those? Were a fun place to go find like the unique toy item that I just like. I want to go in there. It's Toys R Us was like the catacombs. KB was the ADD store. Like I just want to go in. I want to find something cool and get out. So that was a fun one. So did y'all go to KB's or get anything? Remember?
Oh yeah, totally. That was in the mall in Waco. They had a KB toys. It was that was just cool. So the Toys R Us, you used to have to like their video games. They had like the plastic flip up things, and you would take a ticket and then go to the front, and they would go get it out of the case and stuff.
Yes, I remember that. All of it had tickets, and when there was the thing you wanted had no tickets, you're like, no, it's sold out. Certainly, there's one that fell on the floor. Yeah, I remember. So
my mother used to camp out in front of KB Toys whenever the Cabbage Patch Kid.
Oh yeah,
first started, and we're like
those.
Huh?
Did she collect them?
She did not. She thought that we would want them.
Oh, wow.
And she thought wrong. Okay. I remember Christmas, my brother and I getting a Cabbage Patch Kid. We're like, okay, all right, what else we got?
She probably spent the night all night trying to
like she was so proud that she brought those home, and of course, God bless her for doing so. But just like worst gift ever.
Oh yeah. Okay, so now we're not talking 1990, but is there anything, Noel, that you camped out for your kids at a store? Like, was there a thing, or like you talk about, Steve, with yours? Like, have you done anything like that for your folks or for your brother? Was there anything that you like stayed up or got there at midnight to buy a certain thing because you knew it was going to run out? Was there anything y'all did like this?
No.
I
can't think of anything.
I spent most of my career in retail, so
it's the last thing you wanted to do.
Retail store.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
I remember staying all night for the Nintendo Wii when it came out. Yeah, I camped out at a GameStop. Like there was a rumor that there were going to be 5 at a GameStop in East Odessa. Or West Odessa. So they were like, and like you get in line and they're like, we think there's 5 or 6, and we were like number 6 in line. You're like, I'm an item man.
Now I've bought myself like an Xbox, when those came out and got there early for that, or like a PS4, PS5, that kind of stuff. But nothing for my kids. Ironically, I get up early to go buy myself toys.
Yeah, they can get their own, man. Get their own. Here's cash. You go sleep.
My kids aren't that picky. I don't know. I don't know what that says.
Oh man, well, it's just I was an idiot. I had to find that cool thing. I don't know why, but whatever.
Of course.
So retail clothing stores. If y'all ever remember the Limited 2, all of those stores definitely were the cool kids store, kids only store where you bought all your clothes until your mom deemed you old enough to shop at the Limited, right? So. All those clothing stores. It was kind of like the Justice. If y'all remember the Justice, if you have girls that are in their early 20s, late teens, Justice was. So this was the Justice of the 90s.
Yeah,
I still will never understand Justice clothes. Right? Like I remember my kids having those, and I could never understand after we got them out of the laundry how to put them back in the order that they were supposed to go, because there were always 2 or 3 layers, and it was like trying to undo origami. I couldn't figure out how to do the thing. I still to this day just hand it to the girls. I'm like, you do it. This room, like there was even one outfit that Dawn got a couple of days ago, and I tried to wash it while she was out of town, and I'm sorry, this is a Justice flashback. You're going to have to fix this. I don't have a clue. So anyway, let's keep going with this. So another big box store that all of us have bought at least a pair of blue jeans from is Mervyn's.
Oh yes.
You know,
open.
Oh yeah,
open.
Oh, I forgot about that commercial. Yeah, open commercial. So yeah, it definitely was a staple in the malls. I mean, I love this quote from this one of the websites that I'm looking at. It said, "I mean, it looks like a place lonely go to weep quietly."
I mean,
that's funny.
You think back when you watch the Mervins, like the primary color throughout the entire store's decor was brown.
Yeah, it was
brown or light
bland.
brown.
Yeah,
it was drab.
It was drab. Yeah,
it's definitely the predecessor to Kohl's. I mean,
it is.
Walk into Kohl's, I get a Mervyn's vibe.
Oh, it is totally a Mervyn's vibe. Yeah, you're right. But that's one that I'll never forget. So, and I remember one that I like to go to. There's not a lot of guys stores, you know. There's not a lot of guys stores around here anymore. And I remember my college roommate, my freshman year, introduced me to the guys store Structure. Do y'all remember?
I was about to say yes.
Loved that store. The rugby shirts that they had for a while in the early 90s. I think I got one of every color of those. Absolutely loved it. So
I had a lot of that. And what was the other? Eddie Bauer.
Oh, Eddie Bauer. Yeah. There's still one of those in Lubbock. There's still one of those.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. I thought
it's still around, but I'm telling you, it's a few Gen Xers in there looking at it, seeing the prices and walking out. I don't know how they stay open.
I know.
So
Structure was that was a good one.
And it was like they rebranded. It was Structure was an Express store. It was owned by the Express franchise, and they rebranded it. It still exists. It's Express Men now. It was the day the music died, though. It's just not the same. You know, it's just not the same at all.
I'm thinking back. I don't know if I ever. It probably won't surprise you. I mean, because I pretty much dressed exactly the same as I did, you know, back in college. Polo shirt or a t-shirt and jeans, and I'm good. But I don't think that, you know, if I've worn something from Structure, I don't remember it. I remember those were the places that my brother would want to go in there. I would just stay outside the store waiting to get done. And,
looking for a game of pickup basketball.
Why doesn't this mall have a basketball court?
Right.
Because it's a mall.
They are.
I go to the mall every weekend if they still had them. But
that's right. Oh man, they were great. So yeah, no, I mean that was a great store. Like one of the few stores that was good for guys, and then when they changed it to Expressmen, it just was never the same. I was so sad about that. But so there's some really good ones. The other ones that were interesting. Kenny Shoes. Do y'all remember Kenny Shoes? Like the shoe store that you'd buy your fastbacks.
Yep.
You know. And believe it or not, it rebranded. It still exists today. Do you know the name of the company that Kenny Shoes is now?
Clark's.
No, it is in the mall. It is in the mall, in almost every mall in the country. Give up.
Rockport Shoes. I don't know.
No, Foot Locker.
Oh, really?
Oh, no way. Really?
Yeah. So Kenny Shoes rebranded into Foot Locker. Pretty smart move on their part. Tell you what, Foot Locker is a booming business. No doubt about it.
I remember the Foot Locker in Waco had like this little not even a half court, but like a little like basketball court thing.
Yep.
I would always get my new shoes on to like test them out on the court. You know,
the high tops, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
No doubt.
That's the test.
Here's a couple of good ones that are for more exotic like finds. So like Wicks and Sticks. Did y'all ever went to this fantastic like I can't believe it even was a thing, a candle store. You know that the girls of today would eat up if they could go to candle stores and Wicks and Sticks, and then not to be outdone, Pier 1 Imports.
Yeah.
If you're looking for a good exotic piece of Papasan furniture,
that just died not too long ago.
Not long ago. Yeah, it hung on there for
3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah. Lynn and I were dating, and I bought her a Papasan chair from there in Pier 1, and I had that's when I drove that Chevy Cavalier. Yeah, and I fit that thing in the back seat of that Cavalier.
Oh, I'm impressed.
I know. I don't have any idea, man. It was like Tetris skills.
Yeah, mad
you know.
Tetris skills.
Yeah,
Jeez.
I pulled up there and I said, "Lynn, I got you your birthday presents out in my car. You just got to get it out of my car."
I'm going to need your help. We might have to saw down a window.
Yeah, you're the engineer, so figure it out. But,
that's when you knew there was love.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
Most people go to Jared. No, goes to Pier 1.
Go to Pier 1, buddy. Get you a Papazan.
No doubt. Man, did anybody ever really feel comfortable truly in those? Like I think all of us have a little bit more of a humpback because of them.
Yeah.
Totally. That's why we all have back problems these days, because of the Pier 1 Papazans.
No question. I think I had one of those dual Papazans, like the double Papazans, not just the single ring, but the double ring that was combined with bamboo. It was crazy. But yeah, Pier 1 made a big buck with those suckers, that's for sure.
Yes, so they did.
They were like, hang on to this fashion trend as long as we can, baby. So,
Go
ahead. No.
Do you remember the service merchandise checkout?
Yeah,
do you remember that place?
Just looking at that. Yeah, yeah.
You had to fill out a form, and there was only displays. The whole store was display, and you had to take a piece of paper and then write down this number that corresponded with the product that you want, and then you would take the piece of paper up to. It's like the Wheelies of today. You go, that's the dumbest ordering process in any restaurant, in my opinion. But you take the piece of paper to the cash register, which is the cash register, and then they go back into the warehouse and actually pull your products and bring it out, and then you have to look at it and go, okay, yeah, that's the thing I wanted.
Wasn't it didn't they have the roller shoot too? Do I remember
this?
Oh,
they did.
Yeah, it would come out of the bag had the guy that you never saw that would roll it out in the chute, right? And then you would have to identify it with the guy that was the security guard. Is this your product?
Yeah.
God, I forgot about that place. Yeah. Service merchandise. Man.
I think my dad bought half of my mom's jewelry at Service Merchandise.
They did have jewelry.
That's crazy. Wow. That's a blast from the past. I forgot about that.
Remember Babbage's?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's it's like the predecessor to the Apple. Well, I mean, it sort of had that clean kind of vibe to it and stuff.
Trendy looking computer technology place. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought they were cool.
I did too. I had this quote from Charles. I think it's Charles Babbage, and man, this place is it's like a museum / store. This is really cool.
Yeah, that place was cool, and it was always on one of the. It wasn't ever in a part of the mall. It was always on one of the islands. Wasn't it a clear tubed island area that looked, like you said, looked like an Apple store would be today.
See, they didn't have that in Waco. You had to go to Dallas for that.
Oh, okay,
that
gotcha. Yeah, that was big deal. That's a big deal.
Big city stuff right there, man.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I forgot about Babbage's. That was a good one, man. Let's go through the last things. Of course, we mentioned Sound Warehouse, but we would be remiss if we didn't talk about things like Sam Goody's, Tower Records, and the Virgin Megastore. So Kathy Waddle, she had mentioned on the Facebook page that she wanted to talk about about the music of 1990. So, it would be remiss for me, since we hadn't drawn this, to not say, as you're walking into a Sam Goody's or Tower Records, what the type of songs that you would want to be hearing, like the number one song of the year of 1990, Wilson Phillips was the number one song of 1990.
Wow.
Is it
Hold
Release
On?
Me?
Hold on.
Yeah.
If you hold on, right? Yeah. So you'd walk into Tower Records, everybody would be looking for Wilson Phillips, the three of them in the album cover, and the CDs would be really cool. Then somebody over at Sam Goody's would be listening to Roxette's It Must Have Been Love, because that was number 2 for the year. So you've got to do that. Meanwhile, you've got other people like us that were like, look, we're holding on to rock, even though we know grunge is around there, and Unskinny Bop by Poison is over there playing at the Sam Goody's. So yes. And so, you have.
Every time I hear that song, I gotta just say, I'm like, wish I could be on a phone wall during the song writing phase of that. And how
many bops do you really need? Bop.
Is this? How many more beats on the chord? How many more beats in that line? 4.
Gosh, Bill needs 5 more bops, man.
Yeah, I got
That's too many bops.
Because of that, the toy Bop It came out. I'm just kidding. That's not true.
Did it really? Man,
that's amazing. You had Velvet Vidot singing Poison, Sinead O'Connor's Nothing Compares to You, Madonna's Vogue, Billy Idol's Cradle of Love. That's a good one.
Oh yeah.
And then you know, the Young Guns, John Bon Jovi, Blaze of Glory. You know, ever heard that Blaze of Glory? You know that one.
Oh yeah.
So lots of good songs. So yeah, good call out. You know, we may do a little super mashup with some other music of 1990, but Kathy did mention that she wanted that to be part of this. So I'd be remiss if I wasn't talking about the record stores we walked in and talking about some of the hits of that day too. I think we needed a little mix up there. So we didn't start 100%. The fire with Billy Joel. Everybody remembers.
Oh man,
that's how most of us learned history that year. Yeah. You know. So lots of good stuff. So thanks to both Tanner and Kathy for the ideas there. And like I said, Chuck came up with some good things too that we talked about in the history episode. So and then your wife wanted to do information technology.
Yeah, I don't know why.
So, I don't know, but we'll let you do
information technology in 1990 was primitive.
Yeah,
fast.
Yeah. So. It's funny, but that's all right. That's when Windows 3.0 was out, though. I mean, Windows came in.
That is true. There
so
we go.
We did cover that.
We talked about IT.
Yep.
We did talk.
There you go.
And we talked about Babbage's too, which sells
computers. So I mean, we've covered it.
IT.
Yep, no doubt. So, but anyway, that's just a little walk down the best 90s stores that you'd walk into that are no longer around today. So I thought those were some good ones. Great idea Tanner had. If there's some others that you all remember, I know I'm leaving out a bunch. Those were the ones that kind of caught my eye, but there's probably some any others that I didn't mention that you all remember?
Yeah, I remember. So one that I came across while you were chatting was Gadzooks.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I can't remember, like, I always can't remember, was it sort of like a Spencer's Gifts type of place?
It was.
/ more clothing maybe. But I don't know that I ever walked inside that store, but I remember it being inside the mall.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
This is Gadzooks is on this page. It's the last one they mentioned. It said, where all your alternatives friends who listen to Nirvana shopped. That's so yeah, kind of like a Spencer of clothes, I guess. So that's funny.
And the other one I would call out is just Eckerd's.
Oh yeah.
You know, they were the place to go before, you know, really, I guess, Walgreens sort of took over the world, and CVS sort of expanded to the rest of the nation. And I remember they had this Eckerd's version of root beer called Dr. B. And so I worked at Office Depot in Lubbock. There was an Eckerd's right next door. So I would always go there and get a can of beefaroni and a 2-liter of Dr. B. And that was my lunch for the day.
Nice.
I was out $1.54 every day.
That's awesome. Wow.
Dude.
You know, another one that we didn't bring up was Hastings. You know, Hastings is up there. So I don't know if I mentioned this in another podcast. I might have, but my daughter's obsessed with Hastings and Blockbuster. Have I told you the story, Ashley, about Ashley? So she wants to be rich enough when she graduates. She's in pharmacy school, all this stuff. She wants to be rich enough someday that she wants to combine a Blockbuster and Hastings store and call it Blastings. That's her goal. And I think that's awesome. So yeah, pretty good. So
we're just going to call it Blastings, though.
Yeah, Blastings. Yeah, Blastings would be good. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah,
I'm like, go for it. Go for it, girl. No worries here. I'll go rent from you.
You remember Oshman's, the sporting goods place?
Yeah.
That place closed.
Yeah, Sports Authority was one that was mentioned in here too.
It also closed.
Yeah. There's a lot of them. I mean, you
Gander Mountain.
Gander Mountain was great.
Yeah.
I really like Gander Mountain a lot. I was sad that
Bass Pro Shop and Cabela's just bigger and better.
Everything up. Yeah. How do you compete with that?
Yeah.
It's amazing. So, but good stuff. There's, like I said, listeners, if there's others that you were really fond of growing up, I think there was some neat places to go. And I remember the ones that me as a dude went into. I'm sure there's a bunch that I missed though. So please give us some feedback if there's ones that we missed that you really loved going to and missed today. I'm sure there's a lot of those. Yeah. So pretty cool.
Very much.
And that sums it up for me.
Nice job, Keith.
Awesome.
That was fun. Work. That was fun. I like this listener's choice thing. Let's keep this going.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So you think about, as we think about 1990, so we've covered history and significant events so far. Noel, you covered sports. We just did a great listener's choice, talking about retail that no longer exists.
Yeah.
Y'all want to come back for one more episode? Maybe do a little mashup.
I think so.
pick up a little
Good.
bit. I mean, we haven't even talked about music or movies,
TV, movies, or music. So yeah,
I think there's plenty of content out there for us to go deep.
We may do a part 1, part 2, and break out those because there's enough content to talk about in those.
Sounds great. Sounds great.
Sounds good to me. Don't want to miss out on that. That's some of the fun stuff anyway. We don't want to miss out on that.
100% agree.
Yeah. Sounds good to me. Well, thanks a lot for letting me visit with y'all, and we'll definitely do a mashup next.
Sounds good.
All right,
awesome, guys.
Well, have a great day. Everybody. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the Wayback Chronicles. All shows are written and produced by Noel, Keith, and Steve. Massive thanks to those who made these memories possible for us through the years. All songs, sounds, and effects have been attributed in the comments section and through links listed on waybackchronicles.podbean.com. We look forward to taking you way back again in the very near future.